Hello there, kitties. Welcome to your first chapter 10 video, and we're going to be starting off with area. And it's actually very exciting because this unit, area and perimeter, you've probably done before, but a lot of this unit is probably brand new to you. And it's giving you a little bit of a preview as to what you'll be doing your junior year in geometry. So it's a lot to do with shapes and lots of visuals. So if you're a visual learner, this unit is probably going to be good for you. So we're going to start with area and talk a little bit about perimeter, and we're going to do it with these two shapes, triangles and parallelograms. And we're going to just kind of jump right in here and talk about triangles first. So this is a little triangle for you, and the important thing to remember when you're talking about triangles is you need to know that the height of this triangle, which you'll need for your formula, is going to be the height that is straight up and down. And another name for that is the perpendicular height. You ever heard that word before? Perpendicular forms a right angle, and it's going to be the straight up and down. A lot of people think, oh, this is the height. Like think of your roof. The height of your roof actually isn't that slant height. It's actually the straight up and down if you were to draw from the peak to the bottom. So this is going to be the height. And the base of your triangle doesn't necessarily have to be on the bottom, even though base you think of bottom, but the base is going to be right underneath that right angle. So this would be our base, which happens to be on the bottom, okay? All right, so the formula to find the area, so the surface of this 2D shape is going to be 1/2 base times height. 1/2 base times height. Another way to do that, which I don't use, but some people like to do, which would give you the exact same answer, would be to do the base times the height divided by 2. Same answer, but I don't really like that method. It's totally up to you. Okay? Okay, so that's how you find the area of this shape. Perimeter, which we're going to talk about a little bit later at the very end. Perimeter of any shape, including this beautiful little triangle here, is going to be the distance around. So the distance all the way around that shape. And to find that, you've probably done this before. But the distance around, you're just going to add all sides. So for these triangles, you're going to be adding 3 numbers together. Okay? All right, so let's look at some examples. And we're going to find area. We're just going to do area first, and then we'll go back to talk about perimeter. So the area of this triangle, I'm going to, oh, there's my perpendicular height right there. So the height is going to be 4, and the base that's underneath that height is going to be 6. So that's what I'm going to, those are the numbers I'm going to plug into my formula. So I'm going to do 1/2 times the base times the height. So I'm going to always try to do base times height first, just, I just think it's better to do. So 6 times 4 is 24 times 1/2, so that would give you 12. And your units for area, if you're finding the area of all these shapes, is going to be squared. Let's write that up at the top here. Area is for any shape is going to be units squared, or to the 2nd power. And the reason for that is because when you multiplied 6 by 4, you were doing 6 meters times 4 meters. So meters times meters would give you meters squared. So the area of this triangle is 12 meters squared. Okay? All right. Okay, so I'm actually going to have you guys pause the video and see if you can try example number 2. Okay? Okay. So, example number 3, let's do this together. And this is a beautiful example as to why the base is not always necessarily on the bottom. So, you're going to look for your right angle, and that will tell you what your height is. So this is going to be the height. And the base, a lot of people are going to say that 13 is the base, but you are wrong. 13 is not the base. The base is actually 10, because it's underneath that perpendicular height. So that's what you're going to plug into your formula. Let's do it over here. 1/2 base is 10, times 12. And 10 times 12 is 120. So 1/2, 120. Geez, my pen. And your answer, your area, is going to be 60, and remember, inches squared. Ready? Okay. Last triangle that we're going to try together. The reason I want to show you this one too is because this one plays tricks on you a little bit. So if we are looking at this shape, it's actually drawn some separate lines outside of the actual triangle. If I were to trace the actual triangle, this is where it would be. So these lines are drawn because there was no way to find the perpendicular height within the actual triangle. So it extended it to show you that this is the height. So the height is going to be 7, but this number right there is there to throw you off, okay? Don't look at it. You don't need it, okay? Because this is the actual base of your triangle. It's underneath the height, the perpendicular height, and this is going to be your base, okay? So if we were to plug that into our formula, we would have 1/2 times the base is 20 times the height is 7. So you have to be careful. Sometimes there's just things to throw you off, okay? So we have 1/2 times 140, and the area would then be 70 meters squared, okay? Okay, so that's area. Hopefully you have a good idea of how to find area of these triangles. And one thing that you're going to have to do too, like I said, was find the perimeter. So let's look back at one of these, and let's actually do number 3. And we're going to find the perimeter now. So taking away that formula that you just practiced, now we're just doing the distance around the triangle. So you're going to need 3 numbers. So I'm going to go all the way around, pretend I'm walking around the shape. So I'm going to add them all up. So the perimeter of this shape would be 11 plus, keep walking, 10 plus, keep walking, 13. So if I add those all up, I would get 34, yep, 34 inches, and it's not square because it's not area. The distance you were walking was just 34 inches, okay? Cool. Let's try our second shape, which is on the back side. And we're going to be talking about parallelograms. So different formula, different set of rules for a parallelogram. So a parallelogram, I'm going to give you a funky word. Are you ready? Get ready for it. Quadrilateral. A quadrilateral is a 4-sided shape. Quad means 4. So a quadrilateral that has both pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. That's why they call it a parallelogram. They're so clever. I spelled this wrong. Parallel. Okay, so both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Let me show you how to annotate that this is a parallelogram. So when you guys get up to geometry with Mr. Schwab, he's going to be super impressed if you remember this, okay? So this is the symbol for parallel. This line is never going to intersect with this line. So that little symbol shows that they're never going to touch, kind of like train tracks, okay? Now it has 2 pairs of parallel sides, so that means that this side is parallel to this side, okay? Now, another type of annotation that's going to be true for this shape is that these opposite sides are not only parallel, but they're also the same exact length. So this is going to show, I'm going to use a different color here. This side is the same length as this side, and this side is the same length as this side. I will tell you right now, if you remember those marks your junior year and you just throw those out for Mr. Schwab, he is going to be so excited, I just know it. So that's how you show what a parallelogram is. Now, another type of parallelogram you might see is a rectangle. It has all the same rules, except you're going to see some right angles here. Okay, whereas this is kind of slanted on its side. Another type of parallelogram is a square, where all of the sides are exactly the same, and you have those right angles. Okay? Whew. All right, so the area of a parallelogram is going to be a lot easier than even a triangle was. You're just going to take the base times the height. That's it. And that height has to be the perpendicular height, just like before with the triangle. Okay? So, let's go ahead and try some examples here. So we see some parallelograms, and we're going to find the area by taking the base times the height. So I'm going to look for that perpendicular height again. So for this shape, I'm just going to do the base is 5, so 5 times the height, which is 3. So simple, right? Area is just 15, and it's still units squared, so feet squared. And that's all you have to do. Okay, pretty simple. Let's try this one, and then I'm going to have you try these two on your own. So we've got another parallelogram. We see our perpendicular height. So this is going to be the height, and this underneath is going to be your base. So you're going to do base times height, so 7 times 12. And when you multiply those things together, you get area is 84 centimeters squared. That's it. Super simple, right? So I'm going to have you guys pause this and try example 3 and 4 on your own. You're just finding area, and then you're going to check your answers. And after you do that, come back and then we'll find perimeter. Okay? All right, you found the area of all the shapes now. So now let's look at one of these shapes and find the perimeter. So I'm going to look at example number 4. You've already found the area for that. Let's look at perimeter now, so the distance around. So this is a parallelogram, but it's also a rectangle because it has those right angles. So we know any parallelogram, any rectangle, not only are these two sides parallel, but they're also equal in length. Okay, if this side is 9, then this side is 9. Same thing here. These two sides are parallel, but they're also equal in length. So if this is 4, then this is 4. You need to know that in order to find the distance around, because we're going to need 4 sides. So to find the perimeter, we're just going to add 9 plus 4 plus 9 plus 4. And when you do that, you get 18 plus 8, which would give you 26. So the perimeter is 26 kilometers or kilometers. Oops, not squared. No. Just kilometers, because if you're walking around, you would go 26 kilometers. Okay, so you know area, you know perimeter of all 4 of these shapes by now, and you should be an expert at area. All right, good luck.